Hello, my friends. Today, I would like to answer a question that I've been asked a lot over the last few months. And that is, what is the difference between the two main training certifications that we offer in our training institute called Golden Mandala Yoga-Soma Institute? And those two trainings are the 80-hour Trauma-informed Yoga and Embodied Resilience teacher training and 160-hour Trauma-informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for Women training certification. And to understand the difference, it's useful maybe to start with how it all happened. You might know that my background is in social care, that I've been working with trauma and mental health, initially in social care for 16 years and the last 8 years in the community with various charities and through my own business, delivering trainings, working one-to-one, delivering workshops in person and in online. And I felt that there was a gap in our understanding when we were working as yoga teachers. I understood that many yoga teachers that I was coming across didn't have the same background as I did in understanding and working with trauma in various settings. And I felt that for myself, for a very long time, I lived in this almost dual lanes. On one side, there was my work in social care, working with trauma, various types of trauma with dual diagnosis, so mental health and substance misuse, with child protection, supporting individuals and families, and then later setting up projects across Kent and more mentoring and coaching and training and supervising frontline workers. And the other side of that was my yoga and mindfulness practice that started before I even started working in social care. I've been practicing yoga and mindfulness for around 30 years now. And it's been a constant in my life that I've always come back to yoga. I've always come back to mindfulness. And I wanted to integrate those two sides of my life. I wanted to work in a much more holistic way. And this is what I started offering through my business, even when I was still working, for 7 years after I qualified as mindfulness, yoga, and meditation teacher. For 7 years, I still worked in social care full time, and I was teaching evenings and weekends and doing my best to work with my students and my clients, offering classes and workshops, running a yoga and wellness studio, offering coaching programs, wellness and holistic coaching programs, and then doing some Thai yoga massage and body work. And about 8 years ago, I decided to leave my social care work and really focus all of my time and energy into developing my business and supporting my students and clients to my best ability. And more and more, as coaching and mentoring has always been something that I absolutely love. I started supervising and mentoring volunteers over 20 years ago when I was working in a crisis center. And it came very, very naturally to me because I just love it. I love it. As a quite introverted person myself, I knew, and really quite sensitive person, I know, and I've had many times an experience of connecting with somebody who was either supervising or mentoring me or coaching, and knowing when it works and knowing when it doesn't work, and really understanding how important this support is. You can do as many practices as you want on your own. If you do not have support around you, of support of mentors, of coaches, of community, that support of others, it's going to be very, very difficult. And so I understood that all of us need that support. And when I left social care, I suddenly, realized that I was completely on my own. The structure that I had within the social care for so many years was no longer available to me. And I had to build it for myself. And over the last 8 years of being fully self-employed, I certainly focused on that. This is something that is so, so, so important to me, because from experience, I know how challenging it is when I don't have that support. So I am part of groups, I am part of communities, I'm part of mastermind. I have got a coach, I worked with a mentor. I'm building a team around me where I'm collaborating with other practitioners who are now delivering parts of the 160-hour certification training. So for me, this is really important. And because I feel so passionate about this, I wanted to share that. I wanted to share my experience, my lived experience, my work experience of the last 2 decades with other yoga teachers and other practitioners who might not have had the same experience or the same training, who would really benefit from understanding of trauma or understanding a more holistic approach. And so this is why 4 years ago I developed the Trauma-informed Yoga Teacher Training Certification. And this 80-hour training is open to all trained or in training yoga teachers and therapists. And I wanted initially to create that space for yoga teachers. I knew through mentoring and coaching other yoga teachers and my own experience, how lonely it can be being a yoga teacher. You do your training as a part of the group. It's really wonderful. You feel supported, and then suddenly you're completely left on your own. And many of the trainings that are out there do not really go into the nervous system, do not really go into this more embodied way of working with somebody. And it can be really, really challenging, and it can be really scary to support our students. People come to our classes expecting a lot. They come for stress reduction, they come to deal with their chronic pain, they come to deal with their anxiety. There is a lot of expectation here, and it really makes sense to understand the nervous system a little bit better, to understand how trauma can present, to understand how to support somebody if they become triggered, to give people tools that maybe go beyond our initial yoga teacher training. Because if we look at how we live within the Western society and what we've been through over the last few years, and what's happening at the moment within the world, we need better skills and better understanding to support our students, our clients, and to support ourselves. So the 80-hour Trauma-informed Yoga and Embodied Resilience teacher training really aims to teach yoga teachers the trauma-informed approach with a more focus on embodiment, more focus on bringing embodiment practices to help our students learn in a way that is more balanced and it really invites their inner wisdom that really focuses on their needs a little bit more. And when I talk about yoga, for me, yoga is such a wonderful practice. It's not just yoga poses or asanas. It's not just the movement. It's also the breath work. It's also the meditation. It's also yamas and niyamas. It's also koshas. There is so much within the yoga practices that we can teach, that we can share those beautiful deep learnings, and we can also create more safe spaces and work in a much more trauma-informed approach. So the 80-hour trauma-informed yoga is for you if you are a trained yoga teacher or therapist and want to bring that more trauma-informed approach into how you teach your yoga within your yoga classes, one-to-one sessions, within the workshops or retreats that you do. This training is delivered over 4 months with 10 or 12 live sessions and modules. There is some pre-recorded learning. There is some, there is a lot of exploration. I am certainly not one of those trainers that I will turn up and I will speak at you for an hour and a half and then send you off to kind of integrate it on your own. We use a lot of breakout rooms. The whole training is delivered at the moment online. We use a lot of breakout rooms. We discuss things. We look at how it's landing for you. How does it relate to how you teach already? How does it relate to what you want to do and share with your yoga students? And so within that training, I had teachers that only just qualified. And I had teachers that have been teaching for 2 and 5 years. They got the foundations in place. They want to step up. I had teachers, yoga teachers and therapists, qualified yoga teachers who are also yoga therapists, who've been teaching maybe for 10, 15 years. But I also had practitioners, yoga teachers and therapists who've been teaching for over 20 years, who had a lot of various trainings. And the feedback from everybody is how much of this training gave them a way to integrate all the different trainings that they've done, including yoga teacher training, and how it changed the language that they use, the choices and options that they share with their students, the rhythm of their practices, how the checking in becomes a vital part of every session that they do. It's a really wonderful learning. And it came, as I said, it came from me understanding that not everybody has got this kind of level of understanding and training that I had over the last 25 years working with trauma. I've run the 80-hour trauma-informed yoga teacher training for about 4 years now. I've done loads of different trainings, collaborated with different practitioners, and it's been a really lovely journey. And at some point I realized that I wanted to bring more holistic approach. I wanted to have more time to integrate our practices. I wanted to have more time during the training to support practitioners who wanted to go deeper, who wanted to use more modalities, not just yoga practices and understanding and training, but also other modalities like somatic movement and somatic and embodied meditations, who wanted to use coaching methods to support their clients for a more transformational and deeper healing, deeper growth. And I also realized that what I really love is working with my clients, and most of my clients are females. Not all of them. I've worked with lots of men, over the years, but I really feel drawn to working with females and females practitioners. And I wanted to create a training that would really reflect that. Being a woman myself, it was so important for me to work in a way that is right for me. And I've worked with so many female practitioners who struggled so much with creating businesses and working in a way that is aligned with their own rhythm, with their own on needs and commitments. And this is something that really came through as an intention for the other training that we offer, which is 160-hour Trauma-informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for women. And this training is different from the trauma-informed yoga because it's much more holistic. And the intention behind it is to take you on a journey of returning to embodied feminine wholeness that will deeply impact you and change you as a woman and as a female practitioner, and will deeply impact your work, how you work and how you support your female practitioners and all your clients, really. And so I created this bigger training because I really wanted to move more towards this working with the feminine and working with finding our own rhythm, working with, in a much more integrating way, learning somatic practices for nervous system regulation and body-focused coaching approach to support our clients, but to also support ourselves. Both trainings, and it's really wonderful, both trainings really talk, the practitioners within both trainings talk a lot about how much of an impact the training has on who they are and how they see the world, how they understand what's going on for them and for their clients. But the bigger training, the beauty of having a bigger training that runs over 9 modules, so 9 or 10 months, and has got, at the moment it has got 36 live sessions, each 3.5 hour long, is that we have got so much more time to explore the topic. So explore the trauma, explore polyvagal theory, explore how to assess, do a body assessment, somebody's presentation, to really understand and use somatic movement and somatic embodied meditation, to really learn the body focus practices for nervous system regulation. I also share things like the Soma Psyche Soul coaching method that I created as part of this training. So many trainings, so many coaching certification trainings, even trauma-informed somatic coaching, are body focus, but they don't necessarily have got those other elements like somatic movement. They often might not have, if you think about the Soma, Psyche and Soul, a lot of them focus on the Soma and Psyche, but the soul element is not there. Other training certifications focus on the soul, but there isn't enough for me, there isn't enough of understanding of the Soma and trauma-informed processes and the psyche. Some of them focus more on the psyche, but maybe, and the internal family systems, but maybe they don't bring so much of the soul and Soma as somatic movement and somatic meditation. So I wanted to create something that is really holistic, that really brings the last, I started my training journey about 27 or 28 years ago when I first did some existentialist counseling, and then I did person-centered counseling certificate, and then I did loads of coaching and lots of NLP and master NLP and some coaching approaches. And then I started working in social care. I've done lots of training, and I love training. And but there are certain approaches and certain practices that really stand out for me, that really made a huge difference in how I take care of myself and how I coach and mentor and train and support others. And through working with a big amount, huge amount of clients, I've seen what works, and what practices make bigger difference for people than others. And so the 160-hour Trauma-informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for Women training certification is a much more, for me, it's a much more soulful certification. It's that certification that really looks at and explores, the repression of the feminine principle and the impact it has on us as women and us as female practitioners, us as female business owners, and on our clients, on our communities, on our families, on the world itself. I think that's something that we don't talk enough about. And I wanted to have this training to be really grounded. I didn't want it to be, there's something really beautiful about feminine, but I've seen a lot of things out there that are, yes, feminine and divine feminine, but they seem to me so ungrounded. They are not necessarily grounded in nervous system regulation. They very free and they very expressive and often they very creative. But for me, the foundation and the essence of our work is around the nervous system regulation. It's this first step that I share as part of the Soma Psyche Soul coaching method, which is embracing who we are and understanding what's happening for us, what works for us, what doesn't. How do we do things that we do that help us to move more towards stability and self-compassion and self-regulation and co-regulation with others? And what are the things that really hinder us, that make it much more difficult for us? And, having that foundational work for us as female practitioners, because so many of us as female practitioners, we want to help. We care so much. We have got so much compassion and empathy for others, but we also often sacrifice our own needs. We negate our own needs because we want to help so much. There is, and we can get into these behaviors of people pleasing and really paying the price with our physical or mental or emotional well-being or our relationships. And that's not sustainable way of being. That's not a way of being that will help us long term. So really understanding that, and when we can embody it ourselves, when we can really make decisions from this grounded, stable, supported space, this space where we acknowledge, witness, and honor our needs, this space where we are resourceful and resourced, this space where we've got support around us of other women and other practitioners who really value similar kind of things, who really want to make the difference and the positive impact with the world. That's where we start changing our communities and the world in a way that is sustainable, in a way that is deeply healing, in a way that takes care of us and takes care of our clients and students, our families, our communities. So this is how we make our work effective and deeply transformational and healing. And this is where we don't hit the burnout. I mean, I've seen so much burnout in yoga teachers and therapists, in wellness practitioners, in coaches. Definitely, I've experienced it myself. I've watched in social care. I've watched my partner experience it. I've watched a lot of my colleagues, many of my colleagues, and workers that I worked with in social care go through it. It's such a common thing, and I really, really passionately believe that we can change that. We can look after ourselves as we are looking after our clients and our students. And that is through really embracing becoming embodied feminine leaders, to listen within in an embodied way to our needs, to really honor our life cycle, to really live in alignment and the rhythm of nature, to find our own rhythm, the rhythm that really works for us. Both trainings invite you to do that. But as I said, with the 160 hour, we have got more time. We have got more time for practice. We have got more time for reflection. We have got more time for integration. So I really hope that this allowed you to understand what's the difference between those two trainings. If you have got any questions, just reach out to me. Go to my website, www.anetai.co.uk. Have a look at the information around those two trainings. This is why I offer a free 30 minutes call for both of the trainings when you want to sign up. So we have got that time to connect. We have got that time to for me to answer all the questions that you have. And we have got that time to explore which training is right for you. And, quite a few times over the last few months, I had conversations with yoga teachers, for example, who really were drawn to the 160-hour training, but were thinking, oh, maybe I need to do the 80-hour trauma-informed yoga teacher training because that has got yoga. It focuses on yoga. And this is why one of the bonuses for 160-hour training is the 8-hour CPD, how to teach trauma-informed yoga, excuse me, and embodied resilience. Because I wanted to support yoga teachers as well in beginning to work in a much more holistic way. For me, I love yoga, but yoga is just one of the modalities that I use in my work with clients. And ultimately, it is not about modality. It is about different skills and different practices and tools and techniques that might be useful for your client, that might be most aligned for your client at the moment in time that you are working with them. And the more we can bring, the more in an integrated way that we can work, the more we can support our students and our clients in an appropriate way. So if you are interested, go to my website, have a read through all the information, reach out to me, book your free, no obligation call with me, and let's talk. And I really hope that if you are interested in this work, in working more in trauma-informed and somatic way, that we will have an opportunity to connect, and we will have an opportunity to work together to create a better world. Thank you, and take care for now.